That wasn't my choice, but I'm happy to be trans. That wasn't my decision to be born like that, but that is the way it is, and I have to live with it. Not only live, but enjoy my life. My name is Kira. I'm 32 years old, and I am transitioning from male to female. I have a wife and 2 kids. This is my story of misunderstanding, denial, hiding, and then finally accepting my true self. Since at the age of 4, I knew that something is going wrong. My body felt strange to me. I realized my hair was shorter than I wished it to be. My toys and interests were so different from other boys my age. I dreamed of sewing fabrics and making dresses from it to feel pretty. And I never understood why my relatives felt awkward about these things. I can clearly remember how my mom bought a dress as a gift for my cousin. I felt so jealous of it and wished it would be mine. Well, it all went really bad when I told her about this wish and asked why my cousin was getting a dress and I'm not. I got a reply in such a manner that I asked about something really bad and being taboo. It was the first time I felt that being different from other boys is something horrible and shouldn't ever happen. Since my preschool years and first grades, I had a strong interest in knitting and making bracelets from beads. All of my relatives were curious to know why a boy was having such unusual interests, as they thought. At that time, I first experienced some problems with communication. I felt much more comfortable talking to girls than being with boys. During school breaks, I've been chatting with girls, and every time got upset and anxious when they asked me to go away because I'm a boy. It was 25 years ago, when only a small number of people heard and thought about genders, equality, acceptance, and support for people who are different from others. It was horrible hearing every time from our teacher, "Girls go first," and realizing that he's looking at me and expecting me to stop and wait. I've told about it to one of my few male schoolmates, but he just shrugged and said, "So what's the problem?" The only person who supported me was my grandma. She knew I took her clothes and had only one rule. I had to put it back in the place where I took it. She never forced me to behave as a male and always let me be myself. In my teenage years, I fully understood that I'm falling out of social norms, and there is no one who can support me besides my grandma. At that time, therapy was something strange for a teenager to ask for, and if somebody knew about it, the first thing you'd hear is, "Are you a psycho?" So I've been left on my own with my anxiety and fears under enormous pressure of social norms. The only choice I had was to force myself to become a true man, as everyone was expecting from me. I've tried doing some martial arts, showed interest in football, had time with male classmates, but I always realized that I'm not living my life. It was like being forced playing a video game for a character you don't like, and the whole game is not something you have ever chosen. Talking about cross-dressing, I've tried convincing myself that I'm just a fetishist who just needs to wear female clothes and act as a female for sexual arousal. In some part, it was true, but I never felt aroused while cross-dressing. After graduating from school, I went to the university, and that was my second attempt of becoming a true man. But that time, it showed in a hyperactive private life. I've been dating with lots of girls just to prove to myself that there is nothing wrong with me. At the same time, intimacy was under taboo for me. I never crossed that red line because subconsciously I realized how my partners would feel themselves being used and then left the next day. I denied any kind of aggression or demonstrative masculinity. Conservative attitude and strict rules were fighting with softness, kindness, and empathy inside me. A year before graduating from the university, I met my wife and realized that she is the one with whom I would like to hold hands till my last day. That moment, I stopped my private life because it was pointless and unfair to my future wife if I continued doing it. Soon we got married, and our first child was born. It was an amazing moment for me, because we took turns in feeding him, washing him in the bath, walking outside. My maternal instinct was closed by that opportunity. Everything changed after the birth of our second child. My wife told me she'll take care of him on her own, and I felt betrayed by that. I hadn't realized yet why I felt the need of caring about kids, and why it was so exaggerated, and my behavior wasn't a typically male one. My wife was aware of my cross-dressing, and it was okay for her. She supported me with that, and it came into our everyday life. Still, being in the closet, I dreamed of having a chance to present myself publicly one day in a full female outfit and looking like a woman. I searched for couples on social media for cross-dressing and going out together. I showed their accounts to my wife, and she told me that she will go out with me looking like that. But I knew that it's something very hard for her, and the only reason she is doing it was only because of her love. Once I've asked her whether she ever thought of changing bodies for one day and feeling herself in a male body. Actually, I was asking myself that question, and the answer was yes. I had a good job, were financially stable, I had 2 kids and a beautiful wife next to me. But I had that miserable feeling that was filling me as I'm doing something sinful or betraying everyone. That time I was thinking about others, but not about myself. It was the starting point of my long-lasting depression. I felt myself trapped in the body that was feeling wrong. I was surrounded by society that won't accept me and easily will do harm, and relatives that were expecting me acting as a true male without any possible alternatives. That time I already knew about hormone replacement therapy and gender-affirming surgeries, and that they can help with gender dysphoria. But it was something unthinkable. I was afraid of any changes and was convinced there are going to be only negative ones, and can ruin my life and family. Shame and guilt were stopping me from taking this first step. My anxiety slowly began getting stronger and transformed into hyper-responsibility when I thought that it is my only goal in life to take control of everything and everyone around me. Because of that, I couldn't ever relax or enjoy my life. It was the feeling of a squeezed spring that any time may unfold with unpredictable results. Every single day, I woke up and had only 2 words in my mind: must and should. There was no place for wish and want. I was scared of my future, and my coping strategy sometimes edged with aggression. My mind was filled with fog, and I couldn't clearly see anything further than a distance of stretched hands. Other things were grayed out and blurred. My depression lasted for 3 years and led to being on the edge of divorce. We managed to pass it, and my egg has finally cracked. I'll tell you more about that period in details in upcoming videos. I finally came to the point of realizing that I want to live, breathe, and enjoy my life, but it was possible only after my transition from male to female. I wanted not to feel, but to be a woman. So here I am, a transgender woman, telling you the story of her life before transitioning. I have accepted my true self, and I use the appropriate words to describe myself. I have the support of my wife, kids, and part of my family. Some of my loved ones still can't accept me, and most of my old friends won't understand me and my decision. I can't say that I don't care about my acceptance by society, but now my feelings mean much more to me than what would the neighbors say. Realizing that I spend 24 hours a day, every single day with myself, and my needs can be neglected by me, took me 31 years. I am happy that it took me so small amount of time. I live happily and finally can bring happiness to others' lives. Would I like to be born cisgender? I don't know. I can't imagine how it feels like being a cisgender person. But I can realize how it is being a transgender and struggling with gender dysphoria for your whole life. I often ask myself one question: what is my biggest fear now? And the answer is always the same: coming back to my pre-transition state and denying my true self. I told you about my own feelings and emotions, but my wife takes a significant and the prettiest part of my life. If you're curious to listen to her feelings about my transition and all the fears she fought, please subscribe to not miss that upcoming video. Thank you for being with me. See you in the next video.